at a nightclub, and well, I'm glad they didn't turn the lights up. You know, it was a bad-looking place, and so yes, I was disappointed that it had come to that. And back in the little teeny tiny dressing room back there, and her husband was selling pictures of her for 50 cents a piece, and that was a real shocker. She gave me one free.
She became a very sad figure, a joke, a sad joke.
Middle 60s, when her relationship with Matt Cimber was in chaos, and it was in chaos. It was a very physical and aggressive relationship, and they were fighting with each other, and Mickey was trying to act as oil on the water and calm things down. Jayne got involved with a lawyer called Sam Brody.
Sam Brody was the divorce attorney that she was using from her divorce from Matt Cimber. And Matt was a smart man. Matt is a very smart man, and wanted full custody of Tony, and there was no way that Jayne was going to allow that. So she needed to get down and dirty, and Sam was a down and dirty attorney. And I think that at that period in her life, it was just so much easier to start a romance with Sam than to pay for his services. Sam, was a big drinker. He had a very bad temper. Jayne was very verbal. Jayne was not timid. And the two of them together was a toxic, very toxic union.
As Jayne's life and career went into freefall, she sought increasingly desperate forms of support.
Brody brought her to the Church of Satan in San Francisco, where she met this alleged Satanist, an actor actually, called Anton LaVey, who played the devil in Rosemary's Baby.
Anton LaVey, to me, was a man who really, really was the closest I have ever come to believing that anyone on earth could command some sort of occult power, because I could go on forever about the things that happened to people who crossed him in this town. And even though Jayne Mansfield didn't cross him, she happened to be with Sam Brody, the man he had put a curse on. And Anton LaVey warned her. He said to Jayne Mansfield, "Do not hang around this man anymore. I have told him he has less than a year to live, Jayne."
Brody was the wrong guy at the wrong time. But I'm not so sure any guy could have really dealt with it at the time. I think the only person who could have dealt with it was Jayne herself.
With Brody determined to wring the last drops of publicity from Jayne's image, he drove her on to accept an extensive tour of down-market nightclubs throughout Britain and the US.
Miss Mansfield's nocturnal regime is a hard one. Supported by various vitamin pills, she does 2 shows a night at 2 different clubs, for which it's said she gets about £500. Her reception so far hasn't exactly been overwhelming. The critics, who for years have been writing showbiz jokes about her pneumatic superstructure, now suggest that the physical emphasis in entertainment has moved elsewhere. Are you tired of being a sex symbol?
No, I'm not tired. I just want to enlarge in my assets.
How much longer do you think you can be a sex symbol?
Forever, darling.
Just after midnight on the 28th of June 1967, Jayne, Brody, 3 of her children and 20-year-old driver Ronnie Harrelson set out on Route 90 from Biloxi, Mississippi, to drive to New Orleans for an appearance the following day.
She was playing at Biloxi in Mississippi, and it was a nightclub engagement, which was one of many. I mean, she was really on whistle-stop tours at this stage, very exhausted, very drained, very burned out. And that night, she had an engagement the next morning to do a kind of a good morning show.
At that period in her life, she was not a good early riser. And what she wanted to do was, while she was still awake, was she wanted to get her and the family to New Orleans so they could stay in a hotel so she could be right there.
She was wearing a dress with these little